I still haven't done my classes.
What?
I haven't done my biology yet.
Have you done reflections?
Is there a reason I can't see you?
Because we don't want to be seen.
Our camera.
Or just like.
Any other questions?
No problem.
There we are.
Ah, there you go.
Where's Leslie though?
I always look so ugly in the
What?
I like
You
those
don't?
look like 20 times darker instead of your Victoria look.
They're in like the
Oh,
shadow.
crap. I got a tan.
No.
And then just white. Okay.
No.
Found it. Orange.
I think I need to change your name. Because your name is just that moon emoji.
It's fine. Also, yesterday when I asked Kelton if he was gay,
And he was like, yeah.
then I didn't realize what I said until after.
I was reading it this morning before I took a shower and I was just like,
Okay. But I thought it was really weird that Logan like got offended because
yeah, I know.
it's like Logan, I'm not trying to. Someone else questioning your sexuality. And it's not my fault. Wait, Leslie, I didn't look in there. Were there drinks too? Last week, Tuesday. So the Tuesday everything.
Is that an Alabama sticker on your computer case?
Both sides. Going from my house.
No, War Eagle.
No. I'm sorry
Yeah.
who won.
Yeah, I'm aware. My cousin was at the game. Two of my cousins one graduated and one goes to Alabama, and then the other half of my family is Auburn. So, it's a rough go.
Hey.
It's so much harder when it's cold.
Are you also trying to boost your
I still haven't got my shoes.
Oh. Hey, I forgot you guys are doing that. Are you still doing it?
The musical?
Yeah. I'm kind of glad I didn't leave it actually. I just feel like I wouldn't have had time.
Vicky, you'll start rehearsals for January.
Oh, really? Dang. It's okay, my mom wouldn't want to do it anyway.
Lauren will not be in class today. So
it's
y'all will
just
be flying solo.
Oh no. But I
Figured that would be
people
okay.
that can-
It won't let me access the reading from last night.
I does it never let you access
Look at it, like, just
anything?
watch. Like, it goes, like, then.
It's so annoying.
I'm so mentally checked out. Guys, this is my shortest jumper. I should have that.
No, don't. Don't, for the sake of my eyes. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna always keep
I don't know why the beating this because it makes my throat hurt.
Yeah, because I'm kind of sick.
We can
That's why I took on you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did. No, wait, Libby's gonna get sick soon though. She was drinking out of my drink the other day. But when I'm sick, I don't really think about me being sick, so don't let other people drink my stuff and let them do whatever. No, if you're gonna reach for my drink, it's not my job to let you know I'm sick.
This is like a really, really pretty picture of a man.
I was gonna like it, and then her mom knows who I am.
I'm gonna like it.
Well, you're gonna break her mom's shower.
Oh yeah.
You broke her mom's shower.
He was
How did you break
getting
it
it on
though?
there.
I fell into it. Trying to get in the shower. Oh, Lauren is here.
Sweet.
You want burgers?
Yeah, Burger does. Burger.
Good. You should do like In and Out. Or yeah, go to Radio Go. You have time. Yeah, go to Rodeo Go. Or Fred's. If you go to Fred's, you can go. Wait, is Rodeo Go? Huh? I said Steel City. Rodeo Go.
Hannah, are you flying solo today?
Yes, it's so depressing.
What's going on?
Well, Chloe's in Paris. I think she's coming in, like, virtually, though. And Amanda has a dance competition. So it's
Okay.
just- yeah.
Just you for now. Well, we'll take what we can get. Have you had a chance to make a plan for communicating with Jessica today?
Facebook?
I mean, do you want to Facebook or do you want to Skype?
Yeah, I can certainly do that. Except my Skype name is really embarrassing.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Okay, hold on, let me get Skype up.
Okay.
And Lorraine,
I mean,
we're so glad you could make it. I thought you weren't going to be here.
Same.
Hannah, I'm gonna add you on Facebook so I can just message you my name.
Okay, perfect.
I knew it.
Lauren, will you be here the entire class?
Pregnant. That's why they got married.
I most likely won't.
Benedict, come on.
I'm sorry, did you say you most likely will not?
Yes, I have a meeting later today.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, Maddie.
Hi.
Can you make plans with how you're going to communicate with Delaney today?
Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
Is anybody else there?
Yeah, Devin is.
Devin's here.
I'm back.
That was awesome. Okay. So you guys will have Lauren here for part of the time, so make arrangements how you can communicate with her.
What do you guys? Or wait, this is manliest couple. What do you guys want to do?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
You're good. What do you guys just want to like FaceTime?
Yeah, let's probably just do that.
Okay. You want?
Why don't you call Maddie?
Yeah, wait. Oh, I need to get.
Okay. One sec.
So, face.
I don't know if we can. Should we FaceTime or Skype her since like she's on her computer? I think we should probably like call her.
That's a great idea. Why don't you ask her?
Laura.
Here, I'll add.
Once the line is open.
Do you want to like? Do you need us to like FaceTime or Skype you, or do you just want to like call because like you're on your computer?
Well, if everybody else is in their own little phone thing, why don't we just use this thing?
Well, it'd be better if you could, because then I have the channel to talk to y'all.
Okay.
Okay.
What'd she say?
She can Skype.
Cool. Okay.
But okay, what's your Skype name?
Maple Fog. MAPLEFOGG.
Okay.
I think I have this guy. Yeah. Forgot what it was.
Okay. Do you wanna? What's your number? Okay, wait.
260.
Uno momento, por favor.
Okay.
260.
445.
445.
01.
01.
69.
69. Okay.
Wait, did someone at Fort Worth try and FaceTime me again, like after class? Yes, or on?
Oh, I accidentally did. I didn't mean to. It was only my recent.
No,
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I kind of figured, but I was like laying in bed and like later I looked at my phone and it was there and I was like, yeah, no.
Okay, Manliest Pebble, I need you to adjust your camera so we can see all of your lovely faces.
No, I'm taking.
Devin's taking a quiz though.
Oh, okay. Our quiz?
I'm just finishing up my one.
Okay. Well, that's fine. We can still see him.
Oh.
It's fine if we see him doing that. Okay.
We'll move back in a minute.
It said I couldn't call you. It's okay. Try again. I'll try again. Using your iPhone. I think I have to have the same
folks,
Wi-Fi.
While you're continuing to try to connect here, we're going to go ahead and I wanted to show you this image as one last attempt that you might see the face in the sculpture from this view. Is anyone seeing the face now?
Yes.
Yes! Okay. It kind of looks like the back of someone's shoulders, and then the front of the sculpture, you can kind of see the long nose. Here, let me use my mouse. This is the forehead turning into the nose, and the lips and the chin, and then this would be an arm.
Oh yeah.
So, there we go. Okay. I didn't want you all to think that I was crazy. This may depict Sylvette. And who made this sculpture? Anyone?
Pablo Picasso.
Pablo Picasso. Okay, Devin, are you taking the pop art quiz right now?
No.
Okay, I'm going to have to dismiss you from the room so that we can go over the answers. Is that okay?
I already took that one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
What are you working on now?
The Picasso one.
The Picasso one. Okay. Very well. So the scores from last night's quiz on pop art ranged from 90 to 50. Overall, the image questions were much more frequently answered correctly. So I was really proud of you all for that because those questions, I think, are much more complex. So one question that was missed frequently is, what does the pop in pop art refer to? Joan, you answered this question correctly. Can you tell us what the answer is?
She called me.
Yeah, she said.
I think I chose C. Refers to popular culture.
I don't know what I just did there.
And you are correct. Although A and B are true, pop art does use bright colors that pop off the page, and pop art did come from Britain to America. That's not why we call it pop art. The pop in pop art refers to the frequent use of images that were being found in popular culture, such as comic books, advertisements, cartoons, in fine artworks like paintings and sculptures. Okay, thank you, Joan. Number 4 was also missed. What made pop art controversial? Leslie, you got this one correct. Can you tell us what the answer is?
Both B and C.
You are right. Both B and C. Why is A incorrect or false?
Because it didn't endorse consumerism.
Well, it certainly didn't enthusiastically endorse consumerism.
It wasn't like overall, like everyone endorsed.
Yeah, there were some artists that seemed to have a very positive outlook on consumerism, but there were equally as many pop artists that did not have a positive outlook on consumerism and saw it as kind of this necessary evil in our society. So A is false for that reason, but B and C are both true. Does anyone remember the word for number C, using images from the media in an artwork without asking permission first?
Stealing.
Stealing. Yeah, Hannah.
I'm going to toss out either plagiarism or intellectual property theft.
Those are all yes. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the word all of a sudden.
Copyright.
It's none of these. When an artist uses, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. Does anyone have the pop art handout? Probably not.
Never.
I'm going to get back to you because Miss Cunningham is having a brain fart, and at this exact moment, I can't think of the word that I want to use. It's going to come to me in like 2 seconds.
I've had a brain fart since I was about 13.
So to be continued. Number 6. Which of the following sculptures was made by Marisol Escobar? Use what you know about Marisol's art to determine the correct answer. This was a really, in my opinion, this was the hardest question on the test. In terms of the statistics, it was actually not the most missed question. Jessica, you did get this correct. So did you, Lauren. Lauren, go ahead and tell us what the correct answer is.
If I remember correctly, the correct answer is B. The second statue or sculpture.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I had a little bit of lag. Well, that's because she still has the figure carved from a blocky piece of wood. But it is sort of more in her unique style, based on the position and maybe the lock of arms, but taking it away from me.
Okay, Jessica, that was excellent, Lauren. Jessica, why would it not be the last guy? Because he's also in a block of wood. How did you rule that one out?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just hit this random button. Well, the last one, her figures weren't that naturalistic. And so wait, which one? The last one or the second one? The second to last one.
On the far right, it looks like a young boy standing out of a block.
Well, Mariel Escobar's her figures weren't that naturalistic.
Absolutely. And let's see, Maddie, you also got this one right. How did you know that it wasn't A, the woman with the black, it almost looks like a black dress on with her hands coming out of her stomach? How did you know it wasn't that one?
Wait, me? I thought I got this wrong.
I think you got this question right. Yeah. Was it a lucky guess?
I just knew that it was blocky. I just remembered being blocks and no arms and like not a lot of figure. And then the girl, like, it's not even wood. It doesn't even look like it's wood. And it's too like detailed.
I think all of those are very accurate statements. To me, it looks like wood, but I agree with you on all the other points you made. Okay, what about this blue and brown figure number C? Can anyone speak to that? Devin.
I just saw it as completely carved out of wood, where all of her figures weren't, more just the head was.
Right. Just the head or just certain parts. Excellent answer. Okay, plus, I mean, he looks like something prehistoric or at least more primitive, whereas her sculptures, remember, they still have that pop art aspect of incorporating objects and people from everyday life. Okay, good job, team. Last but not least, I showed you a contemporary sculpture by the artist Hun-Soo Kim and asked you what makes this sculpture not a work of pop art. What would disqualify it from being labeled as pop art? Devin, thank you.
I kind of just guessed, like I wasn't really sure, but I said B, it's subject matter.
You're correct. Can you, that was a guess, I guess. Can someone help him out? Why is he correct? You got this one right. Was it a lucky guess?
Well, it doesn't depict old Hollywood or consumerism America. It depicts someone not from that time, like from a much earlier time period. So I just.
Excellent answer. This is clearly not someone from life in the 1950s America or Britain. This is like, I don't know if it's supposed to be an Eskimo or what, but it's definitely not 1950s America or Britain popular culture. So excellent answer. What about its realism? Why was A not the answer? Yeah, Jessica.
Okay. Some of the artists that were pop artists like had really realistic sculptures. So.
Yeah, like who?
Oh, the guy
Which
that
artist?
I'm studying. Is it Dwayne
What was his name? Dwayne Hansen. So it's definitely not A. And what about C? What artist did we study that makes C wrong?
Dwayne Hansen.
Spencer?
Because props are often used in pop art. So like in George Siegel's art, he uses chairs or like the suitcases that statues or figures are sitting on. So use of props would not rule out this.
Yeah, actually, all three artists that we studied, not just George Siegel,
That's just one I remember.
who's you studied, but Marisol Escobar has sculptures with props, and Dwayne Hansen put clothes, real clothes, on his figures. So C should have been low-hanging fruit, definitely a no. Okay, any lingering questions or confusion that I can clear up on pop art? Okay. Oh, wow. That's wrong. Okay. So, bad slide. We are going to start our discussion of the Polish sculptor Magdalena Abakanowicz. However, I'm going to pick on three students who I know did not do the reading, I think. Leslie, Joan, and Julia. I checked the internet this morning, and it showed that the three of you had not downloaded the reading. Is this true? Joan, yes.
I clicked on the doc sharing, but I didn't see the document. I was going to read it during my free blog, but I didn't find it.
It's not on yours.
It's not on mine.
It's not on hers.
Okay. Well, next time, please, please, please communicate with me. I'm here for you. So as soon as you encounter a technical difficulty like that, you should let me know. At this point, I have taken the reading off the page, so it cannot be downloaded anymore. And I'm going to ask the three of you, since you are not prepared to contribute today, to leave class, and by the time class ends, I need a 2-page paper about the artwork of Magdalena Abakanowicz. So I'm going to dismiss you now, You can watch the class recording later to see what you missed, but I need, by the end of class, a 2-page paper about the artwork of Magdalena Abakanowicz. It can be double-spaced. You'll need to do some research on the internet to learn about her work. In the future, please come to class prepared. It's really unfair to your classmates to kind of like freeload on them doing all the work. And if you're having technical difficulties, you need to let me know as soon as possible so I can help you. Okay, thank you. You're free to go. I'll check my email later. Okay, so hopefully you have all made connection with your partners. This is a question for the entire group, though. Back in September, and she's gone, so that's okay. Back in September, at the start of the course, we learned about 4 different methods for analyzing art. Who can impress me by remembering one or more of these methods of analysis?
I can look it up in my notes.
You're welcome to look it
Maddie
up. That's fine.
kind of has something.
Yep, Delaney, help us out.
Wasn't one of them historical analysis?
That's correct. Oh,
Technical analysis.
technical analysis. We've got 2. Devin?
Stylistic analysis
Yeah.
and
Hannah.
biographical.
Oh, he beat you to it. Biographical. Okay. Excellent job, all of you. Now, out of these 4 types of analysis, stylistic, technical, historical, and biographical, which one does not apply to Magdalena's life? Perhaps we should review what these 4 things of analysis are. Would that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay, what is stylistic analysis? Who can tell us what stylistic analysis is?
Study of the visual similarities between works of art made by a person, group, or culture.
Okay, so I guess in a sense we could apply stylistic analysis to Magdalena's life if we're just looking at her work, right? But if we're comparing it to other cultures or groups, she was not conforming to a known style. So the answer is stylistic analysis because it does not really apply to her life. She was not conforming to a known style. There was no Polish style of art that she was doing. But now what's technical analysis?
The study of what an artwork was made of and the tools and techniques used to make it.
Okay, raise your hand, but yes, the study of an artwork and the tools and techniques used to make it. Okay, historical? Hannah, you want to help us out with historical? You're on mute.
Sorry. It's like analyzing the context with which the subject was created and kind of the implications that you can relate to and see in the piece based on the historical context.
Okay, so what was going on at the time period, socially, economically, politically, to influence the artwork? Excellent answer. And biographical? The easy one. Jessica?
Kind of like what was happening in her life, like how she was raised, people she interacted with, and things like that.
Excellent. Okay, so stylistic probably applies the least because her art was not conforming to an established style in Poland. She was inventing really her own unique style. And to this day, she does not have a following. There are no artists that are imitating the style of Magdalena. She is still very much like a trademark, unique style. Okay, I would like you to work with your group or partner, as it may be, to give an example of your assigned method of analysis in Magdalena's art from the reading. So, for example, Manley's Pebble, working with Jessica, you're going to find, oh, I'm sorry, those are wrong, aren't they?
Okay, yeah, I was just.
I'm sorry. Yes. Ignore the groups because apparently I didn't update the slide. But you're going to work with your assigned partner to find a way that technical analysis shows up in her work. Who was Manly's Pebble with?
Me.
Delaney.
Delaney. Okay, thanks.
Delaney, I tried calling you, but it didn't work, so maybe we should just Skype.
Okay, let me see if my Skype will work. Or what my Skype name is. I don't know what my Skype name is. One sec.
I'm gonna mute this.
I don't think I know.
So y'all can talk together.
Okay. So it's like events at the time. Okay, so like war basically is that whole like section. So.
And like a
There's
lot of
another
her like
list.
canvas and stuff like that, it had to do with like her poverty at that time. And like the poverty that was surrounding like Poland because of the World War.
Like
And
she has bed sheets for
yeah.
right. Yeah.
And then just like
Multitudes of
yeah, like
people standing.
yeah. And like her silk project, so she couldn't really afford to use anything else besides that. And it kind of showed the oppression from the Stalin dictatorship or like regime.
Yeah.
Because she like really couldn't express like her interest in modern art and stuff like that.
This is really good stuff. Y'all should appoint a scribe to take notes. You remember what you're writing.
Mommy, you just said it, so you can remember that, right?
Yeah.
That was like
Can we
spot
try
on.
can I just like say it?
Hey Maddie,
Isn't that what
what's
we're
your
supposed to do?
Skype name?
You're gonna sign.
You're gonna sure answer with the group.
it's-
Right.
Yeah,
Preparing the
for
group.
sure, like and be
Can you hear me?
Be a word.
There's so many talking.
I mean, what?
Someone
Am I
should forget
supposed to
any of your
share?
excellent
Google?
I
points.
could do it in song.
Okay, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's M D
Okay.
D Y
Okay.
Smiles.
Smiles.
Yeah.
Delaney and Manly's Pebble. If y'all are still having technical difficulties, I think I might just ask y'all to work individually because we can't afford this much time to try to figure something out.
Well,
Sorry.
we're getting Skype ready.
The phone wouldn't work for some reason.
God, how do they have so many technical difficulties?
How to what?
They just have a lot of technical difficulties over there.
Stuff is hard sometimes. It's weird, Lorena, though. She was just like,
She had a meeting. I didn't even think we'd see her at all. But it's cool that we saw her for a few minutes. Did you do the reading?
she talked about it.
Spencer, did you do the reading?
I did. I have notes and everything.
I did too.
Obviously,
like the
obviously.
I don't have notes, but I did.
I saw it, I opened it, it was like
I mean,
16 pages, and I was like,
reading
oh
about-
my god. And then
My
I
thing-
realized it was pictures from
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my thing with notes
had a
and reading, it's like, I'd rather focus on reading because then it takes me like twice as long to do notes that I don't really like. 'Cause when I do notes, I do like pretty much like, I look at it, then I do my notes, but I don't remember my notes.
Why don't you just read it through and then go back and take notes? I agree with you. I'd be the same way if I just keep interrupting my reading to take notes.
Oh, I like,
I think the Akabans.
yeah.
I want to make an Akaban.
Oh, what?
An Akaban.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going to regroup. So I'd like to hear from each group what they came up with. And please take notes on the other group's answers in case some of these questions reappear on the quiz or perhaps even on the final exam. So let's start out with Hannah and Jessica talking about biographical analysis.
Okay, so the two of us decided, so we made a Google Doc and we just wanted to talk about kind of the examples wherein her upbringing kind of manifests itself, like aspects of her upbringing manifest themselves in her work. And I don't know, Jessica, if you want to talk about the first point that we brought up.
Like, one of the things that they brought up in the article was that, like, her parents wished she had been born a boy instead of a girl. So, like, a lot of her pieces are of, like, men. So that kind of plays into it. And also in her upbringing, like, she spent her parents were, like, rich, so, like, a lot of it she spent with nannies instead of, like, actually being raised by her parents.
And kind of along those same lines of dealing with her upbringing and her parents, her family really kind of devoted itself to helping with the Polish resistance, especially when the Nazis invaded Poland. And so a lot of the focus of her work, you see, kind of represents this very militant type of situation. And in a way, her figures are very, kind of in her later works, her figures are very isolated. Like, even though they can be in groups, I know that I personally felt that they were very isolated and stark and kind of bleak. So that's kind of, I think. Yeah, that was the end of my point.
Excellent point. Jessica, I had a follow-up question to something you said. You said much of her childhood she was raised by nannies, and I was a little confused how that related to her art.
Oh. I'm not really quite sure how that related, but I just thought it was, like, I think, yeah. I'm not quite.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I did think your point about her wishing she were a boy was an excellent one, because many of these figures do at least appear to be male. We're going to talk later on in class about whether these figures are male or female or androgynous. But I think you could definitely make an argument that they may look male, especially knowing that part of her past. Okay, great answer. Now, it's really hard sometimes to distinguish someone's biography from the historical context in which they grew up in. So I think when we hear from Fort Worth Country Day, we may hear some similar answers, but I'd like to go ahead and hear from them on historical analysis of her work.
For us, we found for the historical analysis was definitely the biggest part was the World War II in Poland, which affected her work, and the like kind of oppression that came from the Stalin rule and the financial troubles that she had, and that also surrounded Poland when the war was happening, and that reflected in her work because of her, for the oppression, when she went to the Warsaw Academy, she wasn't allowed to like paint or sculpt her interest in modern art because of their, like they didn't allow her to do that. And then also when she was doing her silk figures and she couldn't really afford to do anything else like sculpture-wise because she didn't have any money. And then also when she was doing her paintings on bed sheets instead of canvases, that shows like her financial strain as a artist, I guess.
Excellent. You might even go further to say that some of her sculptures look like soldiers in the war, or have that sort of isolation that, perhaps many of the people in Poland were feeling during the war. You kind of took almost a technical approach by talking about her availability of materials during the wartime. So that's okay. I mean, it's kind of a blend of historical and technical. It's very hard to always categorize these things, neatly. Usually there's a lot of overlap. Excellent. So Manly's Pebble and Delaney, what can you tell us about a technical analysis of Magdalena's work?
Okay, so in the beginning of her art career, she did one show in 1960, and it really didn't bring her any fame.
Mm-hmm.
But it did bring her to other shows and introduced her to and it was her first show was a solo show, and it didn't bring her much fame, but it did bring her like more invitations to different shows.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she did go to different shows, she was awarded a prize in the category of decorative arts and high versus high arts.
Okay.
So by like stating that, we're just kind of comparing like technical analysis, giving you like the price of everything, like what's it worth now, in the past, and in the future. So before that time, she was probably unknown. Well, some people, obviously. But so her pieces would have been worth less. But then after the show being out in the public, the value obviously would have increased.
And then she ended up being one of the most known Polish artists in the world.
And then
This is
also like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Her arts were made a lot of times out of unusual materials, such as like she couldn't afford canvas. Sorry, she couldn't afford canvas at first to paint, so she would like paint on her bed sheets and things she could fold up and store. That's also why she started weaving sculptures, is because she didn't have she couldn't go out and get marble or anything, so she would use materials she could find and use them, like she could store them under her bed. A lot of her works also had nature elements in them, and that comes from her love of the forest. Like as a child, she would use like tree bark and things like that. So it was a new phase in art where it didn't have to be these really elegant and traditional materials, but rather whatever she could scrounge up.
Excellent. Devin and Maddie, I was kind of looking more for what Delaney was saying. Although everything you said about the value of her work is true, appraising a work of art is not really something we're interested in terms of analyzing the work, trying to figure out what it means. In fact, it's really hard sometimes for art historians to put the value of a work aside. Regardless how inexpensive or expensive it is, we have to assume that each work of art is priceless in the sense that it is very culturally significant and valuable, regardless of whether someone will pay $5 for it or $5 million for it. But technical analysis is more looking at the tools and materials and techniques that an artist used to make a work of art. So she was using burlap, things that she would find literally along the canals that had been discarded by factories, taking these materials back to her studio and reworking them into her early woven sculptures, which were called what?
I can't pronounce it.
Abacons, which is very similar to her name. Why don't we all practice saying it? Abakanowitz. Abakanowitz. Okay, Magdalena Abakanowitz. Okay, great. Okay, I'd like you to work with your group to answer this question. How can we see evidence of both the positive and negative experiences that Magdalena has had as a child in her artworks? And I'd like you to find an example of her artwork to support your answer and email that to me. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to discuss it. Yes, Maddie.
Would you like an example that we've already seen on the document, or do you want us to find our own?
Either one is acceptable. You can use one from the reading or search the internet. She has a very comprehensive website that you can find artworks on as well. Mm-hmm. Folks, it's about time to wrap up your discussion. In the next minute, I need you to send me a picture. Thank you.
Hannah, are you using both artworks?
Yeah, one for each.
One for each, okay. Okay. All right, so let's start with Country Day. And you submitted this image, which was an artwork that we did not learn about in the reading. This was a model for a sculpture that Magdalena was proposing to be installed in Paris, and it ended up, the project never came to fruition. How do you see this as being reflecting both positive and negative aspects of her childhood?
When she was a child, she often went into the woods because her parents were fighting or whatever was going on bad in her household. And so the trees represent the happy part of her life when she was in the woods and escaping from everything. But they also represent the bad side because they look to be dead or in like winter because there are no leaves. So that represents all of the tumultuous events from her childhood.
Can you speak more specifically about what negative events were going on in her childhood?
Like all the war, it made like the invasion of her home. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else.
Why did Magdalena not find comfort in her house, but she did find comfort in the woods? And I'll open this question to the group.
Since there were soldiers in her home just like invading her space, and also not even the soldiers, like later, when Poland started invading, her dad took it upon himself to make his home a refuge for people like Jews and other people that were being
soldiers that were supported
by Polish soldiers. And so there was all these people that her dad was trying to help, but she didn't like it because it was just like she didn't feel safe in her own home.
Right. I mean, she knew that they were harboring people that the Germans would not approve of. So her house suddenly became not a place of safety, but it felt more like it exposed them to threat. If George Siegel were to do a tree, I believe this is how George Siegel would do a tree. Just pointing that out. Okay, let's hear from Jessica's group.
Okay, so we had the picture of the soldier, not like the installment in Grant Park. So that one, like, it kind of was like representative of all the soldiers and like how she lived during World War II and things like that. So that kind of negatively influenced. Well, it influenced her, I guess, in a good way because it made her produce like awesome art, but like it wasn't like she was like cool war. So
yeah. And then we chose a second image to kind of represent maybe some of the positive sides. I know that when you talk about the Abakans in the reading, you talk about how sometimes they represent femininity and that there can be like speculated to represent female genitalia. And so part of me wants to think that her exploration of this this very abstracted thing that she creates has to do with her relationship and connection with her mother. Because they share like gender, I don't know. So I thought, that's kind of extreme extrapolation, but that's kind of something I thought. And also, like, you could say that the red implies maybe some death thing, because I know it was mentioned that she watched her mother as she was shot in front of her. And so that kind of violent red and the connection to like the femininity, the female genitalia, the womb aspect of these Abakans, it all kind of relates to her relationship with her mother, and maybe that's how she's piecing that together.
Excellent. Both of these are well-chosen pieces. Just to clarify, she, and you maybe knew this, but I felt like it wasn't stated clearly, she did not have a good relationship with her mother, right?
Mm-hmm. No, not at all.
Okay. Her mother was a very aloof aristocrat. Her father was a very stern man, and both of them were kept very, very busy and didn't have a lot of time to spend with their children, who were in the care of nannies most of their childhood. So you could definitely make an argument that this sculpture perhaps represents her longing to have a closer relationship with her mother.
And that essentially the only thing that they share is their gender.
So. I would agree. Now, Jessica, looking back up here at this sculpture, which is found in what major city, class?
Chicago.
Yes. Couldn't we say, okay, you kind of brought a negative interpretation to it, representing soldiers. Could we look at this in a positive way about her childhood? Let me ask the group that. How could we look at this sculpture from Chicago and maybe connect it to something positive from her childhood? Delaney.
I mean, it might be a stretch, but I guess like it said when she was young, like they always had like nannies and maids running around taking care of them. So I guess it could kind of imitate like the busyness of their house and all the help they had.
Well, I don't know if that's very positive though, right? Because she didn't really enjoy spending time with her nannies.
Well,
so
yeah, I guess.
Go ahead.
But I don't know, like I guess that was like before the war at least, like things weren't completely awful.
Okay. What about something with nature? Yeah, Jessica.
I think like almost the sculptures kind of look like the trees again that like we just talked about in the forest. Just like the way they're spaced and stuff, especially like that they're headless and armless.
Yes, they are headless and armless, and they almost look like bark, and they're tall, kind of like trees. So in a way, perhaps she might find comfort walking among these, human trees in a sense. Okay, let's save time for Manlius Pebble and Delaney. Tell us about the artworks you chose. Oh.
My image is sending right now, but I don't know why it just sent, because I don't know why I didn't attach the first time. But,
okay.
And then, did you get it?
There we go.
Yeah, okay. So we just chose the pastel painting that was on the bed sheets, or the two bed sheets sewn together. And we were saying that this painting shows that parts of her life were happy in comparison to the way her family treated her as a child. Her parents did not raise her. They hired nannies, and they also didn't necessarily want her, and they neglected her. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. And going back to what's previously been stated about the whole finding shelter and like happiness within the trees, like this definitely shows that, because it's such a happy piece, it's such a colorful piece. Like you can even see it as like butterflies in like a close-up of a leaf or like something like that. Whereas at home, she was being neglected by her parents. There was obviously the war going on, so she was getting away from that, and she found the happiness, and she was still okay as long as she was, like with the trees. She could get away from it all.
I'm struggling to see how this piece could be interpreted negatively. I mean, it definitely seems, I agree with you, Devin, very positive, like a little slice of happiness that she can retreat in. How are you seeing within the piece itself, and maybe the class can help you out, negative aspects of her childhood?
Well, she can't really necessarily escape her world. Like the butterflies can just fly away from it.
True, but based on what we see in the image itself, we're assuming the butterflies are stationary because we can see them and they're not moving. Can we find something maybe dark about this image? Delaney thinks she might be able to help us out.
I think the red that's in there is a very, like, I don't know, it seems purposeful. Like, it reminds me of, like, blood, the color, the shade of red that it is. I don't know. And it's just kind of scattered throughout, so maybe it's something to the effect of, like, the war-torn, like, pieces of her life.
Absolutely. I think you could make an argument there. Personally, when I look at this image, I do see it as a very positive piece. But if we were forced to make an argument, and I'm forcing you in this class, I think you could say something about the red being negative, maybe even reminiscent of blood. And of course, we all know that nature, as happy as it may be for Magdalena, is also a very violent place, right? Survival of the fittest, animals eating other animals, butterflies dying. So perhaps even nature itself is tinged with violence. Okay, I cannot believe it is 10:55. Where has class gone? I had so many more questions lined up for you. Let's do a short one. I'm going to show you some pictures of her back sculptures. And then I'm going to ask you a question about them. So these are images from her series titled Backs. You'll notice that they are hollow, front side. That is the artist with her artworks. Okay, you have 3 minutes to discuss this question. Magdalena said of her back series, "The face can lie, the back cannot." What do you think this means? Yeah, Hannah?
So I think subjectively speaking, a lot of people say.
Wait, I'm sorry, time out. Give the other groups this. You have a couple minutes to think about this and discuss it with Jessica. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, group, let's reconvene and see what you came up with. Yeah, Delaney.
So what I thought of is like with backs, like you can see the stress, or like there's the idea of like if you see an arching back, it symbolizes someone who's worked a lot or done hard labor. And then like in other contexts, like if someone's been whipped or beaten or something, a lot of times those marks are still visible on the back. But with your face, you can like the idea of faking a smile, like even your facial expressions can cover up what you're really feeling. And also like you can cover up like bruises on your face, but you aren't going to think to cover up what's on your back.
Excellent. Did anyone have something different or something to add? Yeah, Devin?
I don't know if it specifically goes with the question asked, but I just wanted to add how that's very like a cocoon shape. It's very inward. And since there's no, like it's hollow, there's nothing on the inside to it, so it's just the back. Like I don't know.
I'm not sure I'm following what you're saying. I want to know more.
Like it's just a vulnerable position, I guess. Like it's very concave to inward, but then there's nothing on the inside.
I mean, they don't have an emotion, so they don't have a heart or something.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe y'all are just analyzing the piece in general versus her comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. These are pretty haunting images. It makes the body seem very empty. Delaney, I thought you did an excellent analysis of her statement. These backs do seem like they have scars. In reality, this is just the material she's using, burlap, which has that, very fibrous, veiny looking material, but it looks like a scarred back. It evokes images of a whipped back or just wrinkles aged with time. Your face, you can always get a facelift or put makeup on or fake an expression, but your back and your posture especially is going to reveal how you're really feeling. Folks, we are out of time. I'm going to decide tonight whether I want us to continue more with her or move on. If you have an opinion strongly about moving on or continuing more with Magdalena, feel free to email me. That may influence my decision. Otherwise, I will see you on Tuesday, and the homework will be posted later tonight. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.